It's the dominant digital property network in the world. And if what you want to own is digital property for the long term, then you just buy and hold Bitcoin. 10 years ago, I met with you, Emily, and I talked about the mobile wave.
I mean, Apple Computer was like worth $3 billion 12 years ago, and then went to $600 billion. If you ask me, Apple Computer is going to $2,000 a share, right? I mean, I'd be very, very long that company. Whoever's selling that stock must be a moron, right? I mean, this is a company that's going to actually have 4 billion devices out there. If they roll them over once every 4 years, they're going to sell 1 billion devices a year.
And the mobile wave was the dematerialization of music falling to the Apple iPhone and then turning books into iBooks. If you want to give music to 5 billion people, you got to take the music out of the CDs. And if you want to give books and education to 5 billion people, you have to take the words out of the book and you got to dematerialize the library. I'm a technology believer. I bought Facebook before it came public. I bought Apple when it was a couple dollars a share. I held it a decade. If you roll the clock back to 2007, Steve Jobs invents the iPhone. And, you know, people thought, oh, it's a toy. By 2009, the iPhone's got an app store. And if you understood anything about software, the iOS is a new operating system, and it's going to be its own ecosystem, at least as important as the web. And it's going to spawn an entire new generation of applications, right? And the mobile wave is responsible for what? Like $5 to $10 trillion of wealth over the next decade. Can you imagine someone sitting around saying, oh, I get mobile device technology, and you're trying to time the market in Apple stock in 2011? Like you're buying and selling Apple stock in 2011. You're like, you want to shake them. Like, are you out of your mind? And you're trying to like trade Apple stock between $1.25 and $1.17 and bragging about how you bought it at $1.25 and sold it at $2.11. And have you figured out the consequences of being short the share if it goes up by $100? Like the amount, like, are you out of your mind? Like, because, by the way, like I spent 30 years in the business and I obsess over this every single freaking minute of the day. I made $500 million investing in these things, right? Bitcoin is the dematerialization of property. We're sucking the value out of gold and real estate and other property assets and collectibles and art. We're putting them on a blockchain. We're giving it to the people. It's a long-term trend. It's 1,000,000 times more efficient than hauling your property around on your back. And if you want to give property rights to 5 billion people, you need Bitcoin to do it and a smartphone. So it's a technology play for us. And we're very confident that over the next decade, 5 billion people are going to have property on a smartphone, and Bitcoin is going to be the primary blockchain that's used to do that. The way that we look at the digital ecosystem is you've got digital property. That's like owning a block of Cyber Manhattan. 1 Bitcoin is a block in Cyber Manhattan. Then you've got digital currencies like Tether. They're currencies. There's not much upside. They're just going to be regulated like money market funds in cyberspace. And then you've got digital applications, and they're trying to dematerialize insurance companies and exchanges and banks. They're kind of like the buildings on top of the Granite City block or the business in the building. It's a different thing, you know? If I went to Vegas, I would just want to buy all the land in Vegas. Somebody else might want to build the hotels at the casinos. That's not for us. It's a complicated business. It's a little bit more competitive. If you're going to be an insurance company in cyberspace, there's probably insurance issues or trading issues. We've adopted a very simple strategy. Buy 105,000 blocks of Bitcoin in Cyber Manhattan. We think it's going to be good for hundreds of years, and one day billions of people will want to live there. My position on Bitcoin is it's the dominant digital property network in the world. It's won that race. And if what you want to own is digital property for the long term, then you just buy and hold Bitcoin. MicroStrategies acquired all this Bitcoin with a combination of equity and debt, but the debt is all long-term debt. It's either unsecured convertible bonds that run 5-6 years or secured debt against our cash flows of our software business. So we're not really concerned about short-term price fluctuations. In 6 or 7 years, yeah, I expect Bitcoin to be higher than it is today. And how it gets there, it'll be volatile.